everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, and I'm back with another movie review. Today we are talking about Kraven the Hunter, the most recent film in the Sony Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man, the Venom verse, the bullcrap verse, the garbage verse. You know what this is. So this is the latest film, and I use that term loosely. And hopefully, this will be the last one for a while, or the last one ever. Okay, so I know I was supposed to do a spoiler stream on this a while ago, but life happened, and after watching this movie, this film doesn't deserve a spoiler stream. It really doesn't. So I'm not going to take a lot of your time because I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this garbage. So let's just get this over with. Let's talk about Kraven. So you guys know how I feel about this Sony Spider-Man universe. It's garbage. I hate it. Um, didn't like any of the films that came out. I know there's a fan base for the Venom movies, and if you guys like the Venom films, that's fine. For me, I did not like them, and I thought that was a red herring for what was to come with the other films that came out, like the sequel, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and then Morbius, and then Madam Web, and then the third Venom film, The Last Dance. All those movies I don't like. All of them are trash. And it baffles my mind how they are able to, they're continuing to make these movies, and I just want them to stop because they are butchering these Spider-Man characters. There's actually a couple of them that I've been wanting to see in live action, but not this way. Not this way. I want them to be properly used in the MCU with Tom Holland, but of course Sony doesn't want to do that. They want to scrape up any C-level, D-level Spider-Man characters that they own and make their own profit on it. And yeah, we see how that turned out. So when it came to Kraven the Hunter, I was so mad that they're making this. Kraven is actually one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. And I've been wanting them to actually properly use them in a Spider-Man film, but no, they decided to do a spin-off with this as well. Of course, I was a fan of Kraven from the '90s Spider-Man show, and recently with the video games like the PS4, PS5 Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 2 specifically, he was done really well in that. Um, but I was dreading them doing this because I knew they were going to mess it up. I knew they were going to mess it up, regardless of who they were casting in this film. They got Aaron Taylor Johnson to be Kraven, and I'll be honest, that's not the best casting for that. I didn't feel like he fit the role. Not because I'm not a fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson. I actually am a big fan of him, but I didn't think he fit the role. But obviously, he's a really good actor, so he was going to do the best with what he was given. And then Russell Crowe was going to be in this as well, and I'm like, okay, I'm a Russell Crowe fan. Yeah, you got him in there. Um, and then hearing rumors that Chameleon was going to be in this as well. That's another Spider-Man villain that I wanted to see. And obviously, if you know the comics, Kraven and um, Chameleon are stepbrothers. Um, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. But once again, they're going to waste them in this garbage film. Um, and then hearing that they're deciding to make this movie rated R, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So you didn't think Venom was good enough to be rated R. You didn't think Morbius was good enough to be rated R. Madam Web, that's whatever. It doesn't need to be that. But like, you had two other properties that would have had been perfect for rated R, but you didn't decide to do that with the other films. But this is the one where you wanted to make it rated R. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sure maybe I'll have a decent time with the brutal violence or whatever, but do I think the movie's going to be good because of that? No, I don't think so. Um, but yeah, at this point, I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. We are 5 movies in, and like, why am I supposed to expect this to be any better? Like, this is just more of the same nonsense that we've been getting since 2018. And yeah, so I had no hopes for this. None. I was dragging myself to watch this because, I reviewed the previous movies, so you might as well review this one, right? But crossing my fingers that Aaron Taylor Johnson will at least make some moments somewhat watchable. But after watching this movie, not even Aaron Taylor Johnson could save this film. This movie is awful. This movie's so bad. Do I think this is the worst one they've made? I don't know. I don't compare turrets. But yeah, this is really bad. This is very bad. I guess okay, if I really sit back and think, this is not as bad as Madam Web, not as bad as Morbius, not as bad as Let There Be Carnage. Maybe it's on the same level as The Last Dance. Maybe it is. But that is not an endorsement by any means. This film is so bad, so poorly written, so weirdly structured. What were they thinking making this film? There are so many problems I have with this movie. The editing is all over the place. You could tell that this movie was in a chop shop in the editing room. They are restructuring everything, reshooting to try to make this movie make sense, and they failed. The dialogue in this movie is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You have amazing lines like, my grandmother died, and then I never saw her again. Obviously, you wouldn't see her again because she died. We have great dialogue like that. Aaron Taylor Johnson, bless his soul, is trying so hard with this material. Trying so hard. But it's clear the garbage that they gave him was absolutely terrible. He's going in and out of 3 different accents in this movie. Doesn't know if he wants to be English, doesn't know if he wants to be Russian, or go back to his British accent. Like, I don't know what's going on here. He does not fit the character of Kraven. There is no gritty, grizzled demeanor that I'm getting from Aaron Taylor Johnson. And at that point, I don't blame him. You know, he, like I said, he's given the best of what he's worked with, but it's clear that he was completely miscast. Yeah, I do not see this Kraven interacting with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and hopefully we don't ever have to see that. Part of me kind of wishes that Russell Crowe was casted as Kraven because I think he would fit the role so much better than Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like, I don't get their mindset with that. It just wanted a pretty boy to be in this. Like, obviously that's not the character, but I digress. But Russell Crowe playing his father, fine. There's this whole, there's a whole thing of like Kraven hates his father because of how he was brought up by him, and he was hard on him as a kid and looked at him as a pussy, whatever. And then when he's older, he betrayed him for something. I think, I don't know. There's nothing really compelling about that at all. And then as far as his brother, who's supposed to be the younger brother, is supposed to be the chameleon in here, he's awful. Absolutely awful. I hated his performance. He doesn't fit the character either. And the way that he becomes chameleon in this is so dumb. It's so stupid. Also, I forgot to let you know about this in the beginning, but yeah, I probably will spoil some things. If you really care about spoilers for this film, then I would click off of this at this point. But like, really, does anybody really care about spoilers for this film? Like, whatever. But like, yeah, the way he becomes chameleon at the end is so dumb. It's dumb, and then, like, okay, he can change his voice to anybody, I guess. Like, okay, it's weird. It's like some Junie from Spy Kids crap, but like, it just, no, he was so annoying. He was irritating. He was just like, oh my god, I couldn't even stand his voice. There was something about his voice that was getting under my skin. It really was. He was just the annoying little brother that kept getting captured numerous times in this movie. Like, oh my god, like, what were they doing? Like, just bastardizing the character. If I, like, I just, I can't. And then Ariana DeBose as Calypso. I love Ariana DeBose. I think she's a great actress. I thought she was amazing in stuff like the West Side Story remake. But this movie did no favors for her. Absolutely none. Um, her delivery is terrible. Her dialogue is terrible. Like if you watch this and then you've never seen her other roles, you would think she's just an amateur actress. But she is so great. But the material that they're giving her is absolute garbage. And then there's this whole thing of like her grandmother giving her this serum or whatever that helps Kraven get his superpowers, along with the I'm sure you saw this in the trailer, with him getting attacked by this roided out lion, and then the blood from the lion gets into one of Kraven's wounds, along with Calypso giving her the serum, giving him the serum, and that's how he gets the superpowers. That makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world. But no, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. Um, I can't even tell you. Like, there's not a lot of memorable action scenes in here. Like, I know they released the first 8 minutes on YouTube or whatever, but that was a decent sequence. But once again, I was not falling for it. But that sequence was decently directed. And then there's this other chase scene where Kraven is running after a van because they captured Chameleon, and that's an okay sequence. It's very much Mission Impossible mixed with Captain America: The First Avenger. But so if you like that stuff, you might like that sequence. But like, it just felt so out of place. Like, oh, Kraven has super speed, and that's like, I don't know. It just felt very out of place. And then there was an okay sequence between Kraven and Rhino. Oh, and we'll get to Rhino in a second. So, but those are the only decent action scenes in this entire movie. The other stuff are very forgettable or just badly edited. Like, seriously, like who was in charge of the editing for this film? Because like this is just piss poor, piss poor. And then we get to the actual villains of this movie. Good freaking Lord. Rhino. I didn't think I would actually be questioning if Paul Giamatti in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a better version than this. This version of Rhino is so bad. So he has like this like injection of this serum that goes into his veins or whatever, because apparently he is a freak genetic experiment accident where he has to have the serum injected in him to prevent himself from becoming the monster Rhino. Do they explain that? Not very well. Not very well at all. It's just it's very random. It's very out of nowhere. And I hated the performance of this guy. Once again, Alessandro Nivola is a really good actor as well, but you could not tell after watching him in this movie. Oh my God, the direction they gave for this guy, I don't know what's going on. And then as far as his Rhino design, it doesn't look good. It does not look good. Now I know it is difficult to translate Rhino into live action, because I think for some iterations you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. But this is not it either. This reminded me of that weird design that they had of the Rhino in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 video game. Y'all remember that? Where the Rhino was a mutant in that? It's pretty much the same thing with this. And like the CGI for him did not look great either. Yeah, no. Thumbs down with this one. Like I don't have much to say about it except like it's just this was a misfire. Like the design of the Rhino, the actual actor's performance as the before he turns to Rhino is bad. And then you have his lackey, the foreigner, which I have no idea what his abilities are. So what does he stop time? Does he manipulate somebody's mind to make it seem like time is slowing down? And then he keeps doing this countdown thing like 5, 4, 3, 2. Like, granted, I don't know that much about the Foreigner from the comics. It's not really a character I really like dove deep into as far as the Spider-Man lore. But like, I was so confused with the foreigner. Like I don't know what his deal was. I don't know his abilities. I don't know like I'm confused the entire time. Um, yes, this movie's rated R. Yes, it does have some brutal violence. So yeah, you kind of get a kick out of that if you've been waiting for brutal violence. It's here. But even that doesn't really save the movie at all. Like the story is still terrible. The characters are still underdeveloped. The editing is still bad. The dialogue is atrocious. So I couldn't even fully enjoy the brutal violence on display because everything else was still really bad. It just was visual noise again. But yeah, man, like I really don't have too much to say about this movie after that. This is atrocious. I'm so done. I'm so done with these Sony movies. I want them to stop. I don't want to see another one of these ever again. Um, I they really need to stop butchering these characters. Sony, how could you be doing so well with stuff like Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and then you also doing crap like this? It boggles my mind. It really does. The only thing I'm really interested in is obviously Spider-Verse 3 and Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I really don't care for any other stuff that Sony's doing Spider-Man wise outside of those two things because those are the only two things that are really good. So I'm so glad I'm done talking about these movies for a while because this has been torture going through all of these films. And it just, I hate myself for even having to pay money to go to the theater and see this. I, I just, when will the suffering end? When will it end? I don't know. I am giving Kraven the Hunter a D minus. And that's really for Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe. The action, there are some decent set pieces here and there, but that's all I can give it. Everything else is absolute garbage. I don't want to watch this movie ever again. I don't want to think about this movie ever again. And same thing with these other garbage Sonyverse movies we continue to get. I am so done. Fuck this movie, man. Fuck this Sony Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. It needs to get buried in a ditch. It seriously does. But those are my thoughts on Kraven the Hunter. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the previous Sonyverse movies? Do you want more Sonyverse films? Or are you like me, where you are done and you like they really need to just focus on Spider-Verse and Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies from this point? Let me know your thoughts down below. Oh, thank God I am done. I am so done. I am so happy. I am done talking about these movies. Oh my God, it's such a relief. But if you guys enjoyed this rant, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you. Oh, you poor Spider-Man fans, and I will catch you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.